Welcome back to Money, Marriage, and Media. I'm Mike, your host, and today we are back with the ladies of Chic Critique. Are women choosing money over family? Initial thoughts of what's going on? Absolutely. Number one is because you can tell that the current. I'm not talking about hypergamy either. I'm talking about there's a whole what do you call this? The YouTube talking point would be, I want a man who makes 100K, and I'm just not gonna settle. You're literally choosing nothing, or I'd rather just be single and not have a family than have this, than not have the ultimate income earner. But as I've stated on this channel, men and women, we need each other. Yeah, I get it. Ladies are making more money than ever, and they feel like they're financially independent. And I'm going to go ahead and tell y'all that somebody's lying flat out. Because I'm telling you, I've said this before. I live in the great state of GA, right? Georgia. Average income for women is $25,000 a year for the whole state for women. Exactly what are you independent of making $25,000 a year? Nothing. Matter of fact, if you're making less than 50, you're not, I would say 50 is the bare minimum in order for you to even start a retirement account. And that's assuming that you don't have any debt. So this whole notion about, well, I make my own money and all this other stuff. Yeah, sure. You can tell yourself whatever you want to. But the bottom line is we need each other. Because, hey, the average income for guys in my state is 37. Again, that's not enough. You need two incomes. And look, let me go ahead, because I'll go into a whole video about just that. And that's not what we're here for. Are women choosing money over family? Let's go.
Choosing money over family.
1000%.
The grand scheme of things, because I feel like
He didn't even waste no time. Mr. Let Go just hit it out the park. Okay.
Are literally choosing money over family. That's the actual thing.
because I feel like, for our community, nobody else is having this issue with marriage. Like they're going to lose the same things we lose, But for whatever
Black
reason-
women worship money. Other races don't worship money. They worship their men. Black women worship money.
So that's not. I know a lot of white people who are on their second marriage.
I think nothing but
Keyword second
chaos.
marriage though, because they'll go back to a man.
Okay, that's her.
No, I'm saying all around me, and of course it's anecdotal, and I'd have to look up the stats, and I will in a second. But I don't think I'm white, so I'm speaking for the white community, I guess. But they're not so hot. Like, I know a lot of times, we just see what we know, but it's not good. I think it's like
But
a
aren't y'all
Western
programmed
problem.
to go back and get married again instead of just being, oh, I'm single. Look at me, I'm single.
Oh,
You're gonna go find another husband.
Right.
Even if you do leave your marriage, right?
I did see that there was a statistic that 54% of divorced women do not want to remarry. So I think most women don't want to at all, but I don't know. I'm gonna look it up though.
To your point, Mr. Let Go, you just said, well, you'll go back and get married again, but that's because they typically have options because the men are marriage minded. So in a Black community, if you're not marriage minded, it's hard to even find the first husband.
I think the men are more marriage minded than the women, though. And that's what we've been saying for the last hour. The women are the ones that are either afraid of marriage or unable
Blacks
to
don't support that though.
stay in a marriage.
It doesn't support.
What did the stats say then? Because I got to do research for the channel, and there is the percentage of men, of Black men who are married is higher than the percentage of Black women. Now there may be some room for discrepancy in there because there are a million more Black women in this country than there are men. So those percentages are of the total. So there could be, maybe that's what she's talking about. Maybe it balances out in the other direction. I'd love to get an explanation,
That.
No, Blacks don't support that.
So with that being said, because I've heard this as well, Black men have options. All of these groups of women want you, So
okay, hold on. That's actually not true. according to the dating apps, the most desired race in this country is white men. So I'm not sure where the data point from the black men is coming from, because it literally is white men. It's not even close. But what do you expect in a country where white men are the majority of men? Makes sense, though.
I believe that because we have the best men. I like to say, sorry, Coach K. But what I'm saying is, with all of these options, and you have the lowest, even under black women, the lowest marriage rate. So it's not making sense. So okay, you're saying black women aren't marriage material, then go to the other options that you say that you have, and make wives out of them. But that's not happening.
No, we want black women, and we got our options, but at the same time, the majority of us still want to get married. We just can't find nobody that's sane enough to marry or sane enough to stay in the marriage with us.
So you're saying there's not one person that's a placeholder that men have had in their life as a placeholder, was that great woman that they just did not want to marry?
Meaning what? Can you explain? What do you mean? Exactly.
So I've heard from the grapevine, and I listen to black man panels, and they always talk about that one girl who they let get away, like, yeah, I wasn't ready. Or they have that person who goes to bat for them. Because I don't know many men, certain, who don't have that one chick who's going to go to bat for you. Have you never experienced that before? Like a woman just going, like, no matter what you need, she's going to be there to cater to you.
Yeah, I married her.
Right. So that's the only one that you've ever had.
I would have married the next one. I don't know.
There's two things going on here. That's the first time I've heard that explanation of it. Usually what happens is when a guy has been with a woman, the same woman for years, and he's just not marrying her, either in my experience, it's been one. It's only two things that are going on there, and she's presented another argument, so I'm gonna have to do some more research. But what I'm found is either two things. Number one, he wasn't married. He wasn't trying to get married in the first place. Number two, he did want to get married, but that woman's behavior at some point made him question if she was the one or not. So he backed off and said, I don't know about this. Let's extend the vetting process. And let me see what she does. And a lot of times, and see, the thing about men is that we're not going to tell you if we do that. We'll just act like everything's normal. And in some cases, if you're not even an extreme of that would be that he just gonna keep having sex with you and you're not relationship material. Well, no, that's not an extreme. What that is that comes before the actual commitment. He's thinking about making you and going exclusive with you, but something keeps happening to where he keeps backing off. Again, we're talking about marriage-minded men, and they're trying to find a good wife, but they keep hitting speed bumps along the way that's making them back off. So ladies, you ever wonder why that guy won't commit to you, even though he says he wants to get married someday? Usually that's what it is. He saw something in you that made him say, oh, okay, hold on a second. I ain't signing up for that. I'm not giving that girl the ring and she's still acting like that. Let me give it some time, let this thing breathe and see what happens. But part of that is our fault, because if we don't say anything, then how could we expect anything different? What's funny is that women do this all the time, right? Y'all have heard this before on YouTube Talking Point. Women expect men to be mind readers. Well, guys do that too. We just don't talk about it. It's that whole thing where if you mess up and he's backing off of commitment, he's not going to tell you why. He won't even bring it up. He's just gonna say, okay. If you mess up bad enough, then he puts you in the sex zone where it's just sex only, no commitment, and then and he'll keep that going until you get tired of it and be like, all right, well, hey, and just move on to the next one. Scary stuff, but sometimes it's like that. Let's go.
Let's read the super chats.
Okay, so
But I'll talk to y'all later. I gotta head out.
Bye, Mr. Lego. Thank you for gracing us with your I was
present.
gonna say presents.
All right, y'all have a good one.
Okay, see you later. Now, okay, let me do this one, then we go to Jonathan's. So go ahead.
Okay, E Cash Um, oh, well, I'm sorry, EK, however you pronounce it. I apologize. 279. How many women make more than their husbands? Stop.
A lot.
No, they don't.
It's a few. It's
No, no,
changing.
that's a
The
small
stats are changing.
percentage.
Overall, men do
Still,
typically make more than women in general, but it's starting to change in terms of the increase of women that are starting to make.
No, it's not. No, it's not. The only thing that's happening is that there is women's education is increasing. Their average income is increasing at the same pace as the men. And the other thing to consider that is that you know that you know what women making more money actually that might be beneficial because I'm almost certain if that happens the marriage laws 100% would change then. Your woman's a breadwinner, and all of a sudden y'all get married, and then who's gonna be running to the divorce to the judge talking about we need to get a divorce? Something to think about. Something to think about. I'm if men started to make less than women, I'm almost certain the marriage laws would change. Like it wouldn't even be a debate at that point.
Make more than their husbands.
definitely not the majority, but a lot.
Yeah. Jonathan. Hey, Jonathan. $10. Wealthy men don't get married for community. They get married for status. Being a married man and being perceived as a family man brings you status once you get to a certain socioeconomic level.
100%. Believe it or not, especially if you work in corporate America, there is a marriage cap. As in, you will only go so far as a single man. The men at the top, the majority of them are married. And if you're not, they have a hard time trusting you. But again, it's this is not something that most men are never going to encounter this because you have to get pretty high up in the company in order to get to get to where you can see that as an actual observation. But again, if you talk to the first person I ever heard talk about this on YouTube, I observed in my in back when I was years ago when I was in one of my first careers as a restaurant general manager. But Kevin Samuels was one of the first person I heard talk about this on YouTube. Is that you can only get so high, and then after if you reach a point after that, the majority of people are married, and they don't trust people who don't have families. It speaks to the how many ties you have to the community. Well, if you're a single guy, not many. So that's why they have a hard time trusting you. But it's also something else to be noted is that we always talk about how the divorce rate is high. Divorce rate is a he said it's a socioeconomic level. Divorce rate is a factor of socioeconomics, meaning that there is a dollar amount that when you reach, the divorce rate plummets. But we're not here to talk about that. We'll say that for another video. Let's go.
Agree.
Wait, I wanna address that. How do you gain socioeconomic status if there's no community to give you that? Like, so
I just told you.
to me, that doesn't add up, right? You do it because the community gives you that. You have to have community to be given the socio part of that socio.
No, you don't. And here's why. Because again, the men at the top, they're not in they're not in most communities. So if you want to break out of the stratosphere, they're holding the key.
Economic status.
Right in the corporate world, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that's
But that's still a community, what she's saying. But I get
The sense of community, yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
It's wealthy men though.
But
wealthy.
he's correct. He's absolutely correct.
So one of the things that companies or corporations tend, or business partners even tend to think about married men is it shows a level of stability that's not in younger men that or single men rather, and that the risk that you're willing to take that could be destructive.
Yeah.
It lowers that chance. So it's kind of like pre-selection in the business world. When you know that this man has this and this and this, he's been able to obtain a family, withhold the family, sustain the family, and those are attributes that can be transferable. Similar like how some corporations will recruit sports players because of some of the things that you go through.
And unfortunately, I think for women, it's the opposite effect because then they see that as a liability because they're going to have to take off. They're going to start having children. They're not going to, be as committed to the job because the family is going to come first. So, yeah.
Let's give a salute to thank you,
Harrison. Yeah, Harrison Davis, 999. Salute. Thank you.
Okay, go ahead. What were you about to say?
Yeah, so like I get that aspect, but when we're talking about wealthy people, wealth women who are either wealthy or marrying into wealth are more than willing to make that sacrifice. But even when we're talking about these business engagements, typically, right? And obviously there's exceptions to the rules, and I hate that I even have to say that, but we're on the internet where we have to say those things. Typically you do business with people that you know or people who know them. You need to have a certain reputation to do business with people.
She's right, but that's not the people that's not what we were talking about. Again, the marriage cap is not a low level. It's not a low level entity or concept. That happens much higher up. I agree that what she's talking about is relevant to low level business. But you want to talk about you're running a major corporation. Your company is not doing business with just people that you know. That's low level stuff. We need to move on because I hope somebody kicks us back on track because that has next to nothing to do with the conversation about there being a marriage cap. And if you want to be successful, you're going to have to, at past a certain point, you need to get married. And those guys at the top, they trust married men more than they do single men. So what does that have to do with people? Well, you're going to do business with people that you know. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing this point again. You guys were great to, y'all didn't mind commenting when y'all understood something. So help me out here. Again, if you understand what she's talking about, why this is relevant, please sound off in the comments. Because like I said, I'm open to the possibility that I could be wrong. I could be reading her comments all the way wrong. But I don't know.
Regardless of if you're family man or not, people aren't willing to put their livelihood at stake with people that there's no accountability. You can't hold somebody accountable to. So this idea that wealthy men are not getting married for community, you have to, because if you don't, you're not marrying into a family that has reputation. You're not building a reputation around other people that are business owners. Like, even to be recognized in the business world, there needs to be some sort of affiliation to be recognized as a family man, right? So there's still community, even within business. The most successful business owners or people who run companies, whether they're CEOs, CFOs.
I'm having a hard time because it seems like she's flip-flopping. It's like you agree or don't agree. I don't know. I can't tell anymore. It's just like we're in this big gray area here where I don't know.
CIOs.
And this clip is almost over.
That
so
network is so significantly tight that most of those people know each other. And if being married didn't mean anything in community, then those men would not see value in it, right? Because those circles are so close knit. It's that pressure from your peers that are doing business that you're feeling that pressure. It still goes down to community, even down to when you have children. Who are those children going to marry? You're not going to want your child to give away their wealth to somebody who isn't part of that community. That idea of elitism, right? It still boils down to community, and marriage is the fundamental tenet of community.
Here's the problem with what she said. How big is a community? Because the men that she's talking about, the income level that she's talking about, how many people is that are in that community per state? You talking about? So again, the state of Georgia, if you're top, I have to go look this up. Don't quote me on this, but I think it's top 3%, $300,000 a year or above, right? How many people actually make that? I just told y'all before. I've told y'all before. The average man makes $37,000. So how many people are making 300 and above? How big is that community? And we assuming they all live in the same area and they all talk and they all know each other, but we know that's not the case. So again, how big are these communities that she's talking about? We're gonna stop this here because I don't want to. I can't. I think I'm done. Are women choosing money over family? Yeah, nothing on this changed my mind from what I said in the beginning. Women do choose money over family. And again, we're not talking about hypergamy. What we are talking about is that if I can't get the perfect man the exact way I want him, then I will just stay single for the rest of my life, even though you don't make enough to make it through the retirement. That's how drastic things are right now. They'd rather get let go from their job and go work part-time at Walmart until they 70, 77. Oh wait, no, black women live to be about 84. So yeah, they'd rather do that, 65 to 84 than trying to cooperate with a man, which sounds ridiculous. But don't get me wrong, men are just as stubborn. But I got to do my research because at some point, the ladies of Chic Critique are definitely keep me on my toes because I got to go back and research some of the stuff that they said because I could have sworn that I've researched these things and I found a general consensus, but they've presented some data points, either this video or the last couple that I've done, that have been contrary to the stuff that I've found. So your boy gonna have to go back and do some more research. But you guys have definitely reaped the benefits of that because, whatever I find, hey, we talk about, right? So, yeah, we're gonna end it here. I don't have the desire to press play again. So I'm gonna say ghost to the next time. Peace.